Okay, another little video with the SkyRaider SLP Lunt 152. I have placed a focal reducer, an MFR3, onto the camera. It yields about a 0.75 reduction. So it changes the f6 to about f4.5 right now. You can see, I'm going to show you the parameters right now. The exposure is set to 38 milliseconds. Let me see if we can get a little better focus first of all. It's getting a little late in the day, so the atmosphere is warmed up. It's about 3:30, about half an hour till tree. Right now the gain, I have the gain at 1.18. You could adjust the gain a little bit to see if you can. Actually, I'm going to go with a lower gain. I'm at 1 now, and I'll change the exposure to about 40 milliseconds. You can click on there and then type in what you want. I'm going to go 40, enter. So I'm at 40 milliseconds right now. This is a feature that was on the limb yesterday, a nice prominence. So right now exposure is about 40 milliseconds, gain at 1. If you increase the exposure, you can start to see stuff along the limb, like there is a prominence right at the very bottom here that's showing. That's with a exposure of 187 milliseconds. I'm going to go back to 40 for the surface for now. Or maybe 55, 50, or 49. Okay. So that's the exposure tab. Next, you can do a white balance, and hopefully it samples and adjusts the white balance. And if you don't like what you see, you can play with, like if it looks too blue with you can lower the blue a little bit more. Or if you want a little bit redder, you can increase the red. And you play with the green to get the sun to appear the way you like it. Okay. So there is reds at 8, green minus 19, blue at minus 34. Close that. Close the exposure. Next is the color adjustments. I have the gamma set to max. I like gamma all the way up. You can lower it. It's going to get brighter. I like the gamma to max. You can play with the contrast. That's contrast is at 48. You can play with the brightness. Minus 13. You can play with the U. Depends on how you like the appearance. And the saturation. How intense do you want the color to be? I generally like it fairly low. I have the slider for low frame rate. I have it in the color mode as opposed to monochrome. You can click it, make it mono, or it is color. I'm in the color mode. Next tab would be histogram. Right now the histogram, you can see it's not very strong. I'm going to move the black point over a little bit. Go to about 25 and lower the white point to about 200. Okay, so there's your histogram. All your data is inside the lines. It's not being clipped. Okay. There's a zoom feature up here, this box. You can click on it. Like I want to fit to width. or I can go to zoom, it's 150%, 200%, and you can use the sliders to center the target. You can go all the way to max 400%. It's 400 times zoom. Like it's easy just to go in and out on zoom. I'm going to go back to 200. And let me go back to fit to height. There it is there. I'll move the scope around a little bit to see if there's anything else that's visible. Before I do it, let me go to fit to window. There it is. Okay. As you can see, the right side is fairly bright. There is a gradient with the lunt from one side to the other. Another bird just went by. Here's some other surface features. There's a spot that's moving off. It was over here yesterday. If you want to look at the limb and see if there are any promises, go back to exposure, the first tab. Increase the exposure time. And maybe the gain. Right now I'm at 200 milliseconds and a 1.6 gain. Let me move around and see if I can see anything. So there are some problems here. Let me increase the exposure a little more. There is a problem along there. Bigger problem at the bottom. Want to get a little bit higher power on that, go back to your zoom box, 200. Let's see if I can not wash it out as badly. Reduce the exposure. Increase the zoom again. And now you can see a little bit more detail in the prom. Again, I'm at about 93 milliseconds now. I can increase the gain a little or lower it. Flow it in. It's all a balance between exposure. You can see you can lower it and get surface. You increase the exposure, get detail in the prom, and then zoom back out.